All right, guys. So today we're going to be checking out the ACEFAST ACECLIPPRO. This is a clip-on style earbud. We have checked out some other earbuds from ACEFAST in the past. In fact, the last two that we checked out, which were the ACEFIT and the ACEFIT Pro, that was another open ear style design earbud, but it came in at a pretty high price tag. And I think that initially turned a lot of people off. But I also think that ACEFAST learned from this because the ACECLIPPRO, which shares a lot of similarities with those, only comes in retailing at $45. And because, I don't know if it's because of the holidays or because it's just released, it's on sale. And there is a coupon code, which I'll have linked in the description, where right now you can pick these up for only $30. And I can tell you right now, because it has the similarities that it does to the ACEFIT, the ACEFIT Pro, that makes the ACECLIPPRO a very intriguing product. Now, from a look and a design standpoint, the case on these is very small. It's really thin. It has a matte finish to it, so it doesn't really pick up fingerprints as bad as a pair that has a glossy look. It does not have Qi wireless charging, which kind of sucks, but in this price range, that's to be expected. So you are going to have to use a USB-C cable, which they do include with these. The earbuds themselves, I'm actually a fan of the look of these. I usually feel that clip-on style earbuds look like jewelry, and this one still kind of does, but it also has like a futuristic look to it. It does use touch controls, which actually work on the whole area of the earbud, even the part behind your ear, the part that goes around your ear, and the part that's going in your ear. It all responds to touch controls. But out of the box, they do not give you control over everything because there's no single tap function. And that's because the whole surface of the earbud responds to touch control. So if you want to adjust it or move it, you don't want it to pause every time you need to do that. But luckily, you can go within the app. You can switch around controls if you want to. But also within the app, this is where you would keep these updated. There's a few EQ options that are already pre-built into this, but you can go in and customize the sound the way that you want, which I personally did. I found that it needed a couple of things done to it to get it just right, which I'll show you and talk about that a little bit more once we get to the sound. But the earbuds themselves is a soft silicone material. It's very comfortable. It's very flexible. So it's easy to get these to kind of position the way that you want to around your ears. And that is very, very important with this pair because the way that they design these, the sound comes out of one area and it's made to not leak as much sound, but it also means you have to get it just right to really get the most out of these. Now, these do have Bluetooth 5.4, so you also get multi-point connection with these, which is always nice to be able to connect to more than one device at a time. And the driver that they're using in these is also the same driver that they used in the ACEFIT and the ACEFIT Pro. It is a 20 by 8 millimeter racetrack style driver, and they're also using that same triple magnet driver system to try to bring out the low end. And this is a huge thing because this is where clip-on and open ear style earbuds usually fall flat. They usually don't have really good low end. So them having that triple magnet driver system is definitely trying to fix that. And they do a pretty good job here, which again, we'll talk about that once we get to the sound. Now, as far as using these outdoors, they do come in with an IP55 rating. So on top of getting some pretty decent water protection, you're also getting some pretty decent dust protection. And this, again, I think is important in a style of earbud like this because this pair is made to be worn pretty much all day in pretty much any situation you're in. You're able to hear your surroundings, so you don't ever have to worry about taking your earbuds out because you're being isolated from everything. So you can wear these on a construction site or at the beach or anywhere where there's dust and things flying around and know that it's not going to ruin your earbuds. Now, as far as the battery life on these, it's not the best in the world. It's not one of those that goes into the double digits, but on a single charge, you can get 7 hours on the earbuds. And with the charging case, you can get 28 hours total. Now, this is with listening to these at about 50% volume. So if you're going to listen to them louder than that, know that the battery is probably going to take quite a bit of a hit. But if you do happen to pick these up and they are dead, it does have a fast charging feature where a 10-minute charge will get you about 90 minutes of use. Now, if you're also looking to use these for phone calls, they are using dual mics, which have environmental noise canceling. They're also using an AI algorithm to try to block out wind noise as well. And I think they do a pretty decent job here. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here.
So here is a quick mic test using the ACECLIPPRO. I am outdoors. It is definitely a little windy, although not at the moment, but I can hear some traffic off to the side. And this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call public.
So now let's talk about the sound. And the first thing that I want to point out is, like I said earlier, always make sure that you have these positioned just right, because it plays such a huge part in getting really good sound quality out of these, or getting something that sounds kind of flat. But you'll notice it right out of the gate if you don't have these in just right. Now, as much as I did like the tuning that these had out of the box, I still wanted to kind of pull out the bass a little bit more, and I wanted to brighten up the treble. So I did go in and customize the EQ settings a little bit, which I'll show you right here. And once I did that, I felt like that one kind of hit the sweet spot. I felt like the punch that these had, which again is not normal in this style of earbud, was really impressive. You can even sit the earbuds in your hand while music is playing, and you can feel the vibration. And I even sat it on the screen of my phone while music was playing, and the earbud was moving around on the screen. It's kind of crazy because, again, they're relying on that triple magnet system to try to pull that out more, and that just kind of lends itself well for most people. I mean, most people like bass. In fact, that's the first thing most people normally notice when they're checking out headphones or earbuds. So I do like that they put some focus here, but I also like that they didn't let it just destroy everything else. Now, I am going to say, depending on what genres you listen to, like if you listen to metal where the double bass of the drums is going really fast, it can kind of warm up the mids and the treble a little bit. It kind of dials it back some. But for most genres and every other genre that's not crazy, it comes through very clean. It comes through very detailed. Mids kind of sound like they're just slightly up front, so I never had any issue with hearing male or female vocalists. Again, it was just like if I was listening to metal, that things kind of not necessarily got congested or muddy. It just started to tone the mids and the treble down just a little bit. And it may be nitpicking, especially for an earbud in this price range, but it's definitely something that I want to point out, especially for those that might only listen to genres like this. When it comes to the sound stage, the sound imaging, this is a very open sounding earbud, obviously by design. It does a really good job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. It's just metal where it starts to kind of pull it in just a little bit. So do keep that in mind. But my overall opinion on these, I think ACEFAST just knocked it out of the park. And I think it was a really good idea to mimic the AceFit and the AceFit Pro, which I felt like were fantastic earbuds. But I think they also did a really good job with coming in at a really competitive price point. And I think this is because it's a flooded market. There's so many different clip-on style earbuds. You can't really price yourself out of that. But even at the retail price, I think these are definitely worth it at 45 bucks. There's a lot to like here. This is a simple pair to use, but it's a pair that you're getting low end that you don't normally get with clip-on style earbuds. So if you're a bass head, or if you just feel like the open ear style earbud that you have just isn't really producing when it comes to bass, this one's one of those you might want to check out. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new ACEFAST ACECLIPPROs. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.